Hey YouTubers, it's Valerie with Money Mindset Coach, and here I am. I have my pearls, I have my hat, I have something a little bit more feminine on. Basically, what I've been doing is I have been binge watching Downton Abbey. Now, I started watching that show probably 10 years ago or more. No, it was longer ago than that. It was like 2012 because my mom passed away in 2012. And that's when I started getting all the seasons and started watching them on DVD. And I just got obsessed. Now, I have been obsessed with England before now, but Downton Abbey just made it more so. And so anyway, I have been binge watching the show, and I've just been observing a lot about, because I'm in the 1920s now, so we're talking 100 years ago in England, what it was like. And, you know, so much has changed since then. I think some of you watched the other show that's New York, but it's the turn of the century, the same time period. God, I can't think of the name of it now, but it's coming back on. Love that show too. But, you know, things were different for women back then, you know, and a lot of things have improved. A lot. But there are some things that I think we have left behind when it comes to femininity. And, you know, because now we have women who are firefighters, who are police officers, who are in the military, in combat. There was, for most of our history, that would have never happened. That would have not been the way that it was. Policemen, firemen, those were male professions, you know. Women didn't do that. Women probably weren't even doctors way back when. That was an unheard of kind of thing. You know, there was an education gap when it came to women. Now, I came of age and graduated from high school in 1976. So the 1970s was really, I feel like it's my decade. I loved disco. I loved everything about it. But back then, things were starting to turn. The term unisex was out there. There were haircuts that we did, because I was a hairdresser. There were haircuts that we did that men or women could wear, you know. Now, it wasn't so much, yeah, there were guys with long hair, you know, but there were women who tended to go with the shorter and maybe the more manly style, maybe. But femininity was starting to go away a little bit. Jeans became very popular for women to wear in the 70s. I remember my boss, he would let us wear jeans, but then eventually they got too ratty, and then he would say, okay, no more jeans. He would cut them out. But yeah, it used to be guys on the farm were wearing the jeans. Jeans weren't everywhere like they are now. They were only used in situations where you needed to wear something that was very durable and that would last. So our clothing has changed. Women don't wear hats every day or hardly ever. It's kind of hard. I found this hat a few years ago when I was working at a winery and we were going to have a Kentucky Derby party. And so I went to the thrift store and I found this hat. It's a Jessica Simpson hat. But do I ever wear it? No. It's been on the top shelf of my closet. And so that's why with binge watching the Downton Abbey, and I keep seeing the hats, I keep seeing what they're wearing, you know, I got my pearls on, I just started to think. And I mean, I went through a real English thing back in 82, when Princess Diana, well, Lady Diana, married Prince Charles. That was my first, I really got into the whole England thing, and I was a huge Diana fan. Devastated when she died. But she had her boys, and then I got married and I had my boys. And I was devastated when she passed away. But I was up in the middle of the night to see the wedding. I was up in the middle of the night to see Kate and William. I was up in the middle of the night for Diana's funeral. And I was up in the middle of the night for Prince Harry and Meghan, even though I'm not too thrilled with them anymore. But that's a whole nother thing. I don't even want to go there. But yeah, I mean, it started a long time ago. I've been, kind of in this English thing. I have a Labrador, which is the national dog of England. I have this. This is a mug that a friend of mine got me, and it's made in England. So I'll never get rid of that. Now, I do have this cup and saucer. It's so beautiful. If you can see that embossing right there and on there. Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful, beautiful cup and saucer. Now, this is actually made in Finland, but I love anything that's made over there. I just think it's special and it's cool. So anyway, I was looking at my English stuff, but I am really into English. But I started to investigate here, and it was kind of interesting what I found. Modern vintage femininity guide. Because I went to my closet and I started looking at what are my feminine pieces. Because to tell you the truth, I don't really like to wear t-shirts because my boyfriend can wear a t-shirt. I don't want to wear the same thing that he does. That was the thing. Men and women started dressing alike. They didn't look different. And there was a point in time where women looked very different than men. And so, there's wardrobe touches that you can do. You don't have to go full Edwardian to have the elegant look. You can go with flowing fabrics. And I have to say, I got some money for Mother's Day, and I splurged. I have a wedding that I'm going to a week from today. And I had a dress that I could have worn. I really did. But I decided I still had money left, and I started looking online. And I went to Amazon, and I found a really, really beautiful dress, because I'm watching Downton Abbey and I'm seeing them wear all these beautiful clothes. And it just got me to thinking, and I'm thinking, I think I want to buy a new dress to wear to this wedding. So I did. It's coming. I think it's coming on Wednesday. So I will wear it, and I'll show it to you so you can see it. But flowing fabrics, which this has, it's a wrap dress. It's got kind of a V-neck, and it's got a flowing skirt to it, and it's got flowers at the bottom. It's really pretty. It's really, really pretty. But flowing fabrics, think chiffon, silk, or cotton with some movement to it. Soft blouses. When you think of feminine, you think of lace, you think of ruffles, that kind of thing. And I went into my closet and I kind of separated all of my feminine clothes from my workout clothes, stuff that's really not that feminine. I switched it out, so I've got it separated. Midi or maxi skirts, you're not going to find short skirts with the whole Downton Abbey. Modesty, you didn't see cleavage. There was no cleavage that you saw. The dresses were long. That's just the way they were. The coats were very tailored. A well-fitted coat really instantly adds a polish that you wouldn't normally have. And accessories, pearl earrings, brooches, delicate scarves, vintage handbags. Yeah, I have kind of gotten away from carrying my favorite purses. Yeah, I really have. Scarves are a very feminine thing, and I've kind of gotten away from that too. But I don't have any pearl earrings, but I do have these. But thrift stores, vintage inspired Etsy shops, even your own closet can be a treasure trove. And like I said, I went through my closet. Beauty rituals, yeah, vintage beauty was all about the polish and the grace, not glam overload. Because like when I put makeup on to do this video, I did do eyeliner, I did do mascara, I didn't do eyeshadow. Because when you watch Downton Abbey, they don't have a lot of makeup. Actually, 100 years ago, a woman of the evening, maybe burlesque or something like that, you would see more makeup on a woman like that, but you wouldn't see it on someone who had the dignity and all that they have on Downton. So I just did a little eyeliner, a little mascara, because makeup is not supposed to make you look like somebody wouldn't know you. You would never want to wear that much makeup. If you can't leave the house without your makeup on, you've got a problem. Now, the only thing that I put color-wise was the lipstick, because your lips are red anyway. So to put a little color there, I don't really see a problem with that. But skincare was really important back then. A clean, glowing complexion was key, using gentle products to nourish your skin. We think of all the anti-aging products that they have come out with to appeal to the baby boomers like me. They didn't have a heck of a lot to choose from back then. Natural makeup, just like I was talking, think soft pinks, mauves, defined brows. I did do a little bit with my eyebrows because they're becoming sparse, so I did kind of fill them in a little bit. Signature scent, choose a classic floral perfume. I don't tend to wear perfume, but that was something that a woman would do. Guys would wear cologne. Maybe people just smelled better, or maybe they weren't taking as many baths, because there was the whole Saturday night bath, before you went to church on Sunday. You were probably the cleanest on Sunday morning for church. Yeah, maybe you were using some perfume and some cologne to try to smell better because you haven't had a shower or a bath. That's probably part of it. Hair, loose waves, long bun, hair clips inspired by the 1920s to the 1940s, add a nod to the past. I just threw some electric rollers in my hair. Didn't do much with it, but it's better than how stick straight it was before I did this. Daily rituals of grace. Life 100 years ago was slower and more intentional. The morning routine, get ready with soft music, a cup of tea, perhaps a vintage robe or nightgown. I do have a robe that's very vintage looking that I wear during the spring and summer. Tea time, take a pause in your day, even 15 minutes to sip from a pretty cup like that or like that. Write letters or cards. Revive the lost art of birthdays, thank you notes, or just a sweet hello. It's very true. It's very true. And that's the other thing. I spent the rest of my Mother's Day money after I bought the dress. All of a sudden it occurred to me that when you see on Downton Abbey in their writing, they have this beautiful handwriting. And to tell you the truth, I have always been fascinated by calligraphy. And I think that handwriting, especially calligraphy, has just almost been gone. And so I went to Amazon and I found a calligraphy kit where there's the special pens, there's the practice in making the letters and stuff. So I think that might end up being a hobby for me. And then how neat would it be to write someone a thank you note or a letter using this beautiful handwriting? I think people would really be psyched by that. Now, kids who have not learned cursive handwriting in school will probably think it's a code. They can't read it. I know that. And a lot of them, they don't. My 17-year-old granddaughter, I don't think she sees the need to write cursive. But to me, it's the adult way to do it. You print when you're a kid. Once you learn cursive, that's how the adults do it. And that's how I always looked at it. Graceful movement. Walk with awareness. Take your time. Sit with posture. These small changes, it changes how you feel, you know. And I do think that, I mean, when you watch the show, and please comment in the comments if you have been a fan of Downton Abbey. Please put something in there and tell me what you think. But if you ever realized, and I have a whole book on Downton Abbey, but when they sit at the table to eat, they are never leaning back. They never lean back. They are sitting with a straight back, with that posture, and they're not leaning. That seat is there, but the back is there, but they're not leaning. There is no slouch. You're upright, and your posture is there. When they're eating, depending on what hand, I'm left-handed, so if you're eating, the hand you don't write with is in your lap. Your napkin is in your lap. I learned these things when I was growing up. My mother and my grandmother taught me, you don't have elbows on the table. You don't have your forearms on the table. You just don't do that. You do not do that. Cultivating the mind and the heart. Elegant women of the past were well read and curious. I tell you what, you want to learn about something? Read a book. I am a big reader. I read every morning for an hour. I take notes. I underline. I journal about what I've read, and it can change your life. It really can change your life. The elegant women, read classic literature, poetry, or old letters. I've said before, my grandmother wrote letters to my mom after we moved from Chicago, because talking on the phone was very expensive, being long distance, so they didn't talk on the phone hardly at all. And they wrote letters. And I know that a lot of what my grandmother said was probably very mundane and just what was going on, but I'd give anything to read those letters again. I really, really would. Watch or listen to classical music, opera, or jazz. I'm not really crazy about opera. I really don't like jazz, even though there was a movie. Oh gosh, what was the name of that? La La Land. Oh my gosh. That had jazz in it, and I love that movie, and I have that movie, and I've watched that movie I don't know how many times. Positively love it. Not crazy about jazz though, but I can deal with it. But classical music, when I was 14, I was playing classical music on the organ. I was playing Bach and Beethoven and a lot of really, really hard stuff. Now, they say if you don't use it, you lose it, and I have lost it. If I had that piece of music in front of me right now, I wouldn't be able to play it. It has been that long. But it was crazy how I was able to play something like that. But yeah, I had an appreciation of classical music back when I was a teenager. This is important. Practice the art of conversation. Ask questions. Listen deeply. Remember details. That is so true. I don't really like small talk. I really don't. That's why I think these videos I enjoy so much, because I am able to talk to you. I don't feel like this is small talk. I feel like I'm talking to you even though you're not talking back, but when you comment, I feel that you are. And I love that. And, but asking questions, that's why. Have you watched Downton Abbey? Have you felt that some of these things have been lost? Do you want to bring them back in your own life? Because you can if you want to. You really can. Home touches. Your space should feel like a retreat. Soft lighting, lamps, candles, twinkle lights. Yeah, I have all that. And it's a wonderful, comfy feeling. Furniture should be comfortable. Soft lighting. Shouldn't be heavy duty stuff. You're going to look better in soft lighting anyway. Dishes. I have dishes. I don't know. They're Falstaff. And I used to have the tea rose because I was really big into tea rose. The English rose and all that. These dishes that I have, they are breakable. They are beautiful. And I use them every day. And I don't want to use dishes that aren't pretty. I really don't. I have beautiful wine glasses that I like to put stuff in. It's like you don't have to put an alcoholic drink or wine or something in there. You can use those for anything if you want. Absolutely. Keep fresh flowers or a potted plant. Yeah, I have had fresh flowers on the table. There is nothing that smells better than that looks better. I just wish they wouldn't die. That's the only thing. And I do have some fake ones that really are realistic looking, but they're not the same. Embrace soft power. Be kind, but not naive. You can be kind. You can know what you're talking about, but you never want to make somebody feel like they're stupid. I have felt that way, and I know that I have made people feel that way. I have said something that it was kind of like a for your information kind of thing, but it was something they already knew. And the thing is we're all pretty smart. We all know kind of what we're doing. You don't really have to go into too much explanation of a lot of things because we all are pretty smart. We all pretty much know what we're talking about for the most part. But it is important to know what you don't know. Tom Selleck always said that. He said, I don't try to sound like I know something if I don't. And that's really true, because if you do, you're not going to sound very smart. They're going to know when you open your mouth, you don't know what you're talking about. But feminine energy today means that you can be loving and nurturing and have strong boundaries, big goals, and a bold voice. It's your blend to define. And so I just wanted to kind of tell you what I've been thinking about, what I've been doing. I'm going to try my hand at calligraphy. I am going to try to, I don't know, be a little bit more feminine. This hat, actually, my dad always told me that I was a hat person, that I should wear hats more often. You just don't see women wearing hats, but maybe I should keep this one, you know? It's Jessica Simpson, and it was brand new, and I got it at the thrift store for a couple dollars. And I think it's a summery kind of hat, and it's got a stretchiness to it. I think it kind of breathes and everything. I think I might keep it, but it doesn't look half bad. So anyway, that is all for now. But if you watch Downton Abbey, and if you're going to watch, I don't know why it's escaping me, on Max, the one that takes place in New York, I think the 3rd season is about to start, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. So anyway, if you found value in this, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment, please. I love the comments. But anyway, like I always say, use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Till next time, bye.